Hey guys, it's Haley, and today is going to be my August reading wrap-up. It doesn't seem like I read a lot of books based on the sole number of books, but I read more than it seems. You'll see. But I do want to say, I'm pretty sure I'm wearing the same shirt I was last video. Please don't mind that. It's been time. It's been a month. My hair is different. You can see it's different. But the shirt goes well with the pants I'm wearing right now, so it's fine. Most of you probably didn't notice that. I just did because I'm me. Anyway, I have a total of like 4 books, but you'll see why it is a little bit more than really 4. The first book I read this month was The Hating Game. This was such a good little romance book. This book I rated, I think, a 4.5 out of 5. It's great writing. It was so entertaining to read. It was pretty steamy. I will say this book, so if you haven't watched my book haul whenever I talked about this, basically this book is about Lucy and Josh. Their 2 companies merged together and they now work at the same place. They work in the same office, like the same room, but they hate each other. They just hate each other so much. Life is so rough working with each other because they hate each other so much. And they're both going up for the same promotion. And they start to, you know, hang out with each other. They start to see each other, and you start to find out that they don't actually hate each other. And the fun part about this is that Josh, he's a very standoffish type dude. He's very like grouchy. And it's what I really enjoyed about this book was seeing like how soft he ends up being for her, and like how like protective, and how like, I guess soft is the word, how like he just really starts to break down that shell of like being just this very standoffish guy just for like her. And it's a good book. I enjoyed this one. And I rated it a 4.5 out of 5. The next book I read was Normal People by Sally Rooney. Now, I read this book. I really liked it a lot. And then I watched the Hulu series immediately after, and I adored it. Oh my gosh, the Hulu interpretation of this is like my favorite interpretation of like any book to film adaptation like ever. This is so good. Basically this follows Connell and Marianne, and there's not much plot to it. It's very much just like you watch their lives together, but you watch their lives from high school through college and so on, and their friendship and their relationship throughout that. And the way that the show interpreted the book was so beautifully done. Like it was such a great quality like show. It's a show, not a movie, but like it was so good. And then after I watched it, I immediately reread it. So I read this twice this month, and I loved it. I adored it. Now, if you don't like a book that has like no plot and is basically like a character study, you probably won't like this, but I freaking adored it. And like there's so many great quotes out of this book, and I will just say Marianne deserved better. She did. She really did. One of the things about this book, sorry, I'm going through my notes, that I like really loved is like, of course I had critiques of Connell as a character, but like that's what real life is like, and that's what I love about this. I love the way that it portrayed like a real life. People aren't perfect, people are messy, things happen, that's life. And as much as we always want life to be picture perfect, it isn't. And I feel like this really captured that. I really just enjoyed the way it like captured what real life is like and how people aren't perfect. One thing throughout this book is I feel like you have to read between the lines a bit, and I really liked in the show the way that you could see the tension and feel the tension in a kind of a different way than in the book. In the book I feel like Connell is very like vapid and like there's not much to him, and whenever you read when you read the book I feel like he's that way, and then when you watch the show I feel like it really opens up his character, and I feel like when I reread through the book after that it painted him in a different way for me. But I loved how like soft and gentle their relationship was, and it really was like a beautiful story. I immediately had to reread this, and truly I adore this. This is a 5 out of 5, hell yeah, star. This is one of my new top favorite books. This gives me the same feelings of like when I first read Looking for Alaska, and I just like, if you don't know, Looking for Alaska has been my favorite book since like high school, and it just tore me to shreds, and like I just adored the characters and their story, and it's just been my favorite forever. Even though of course as an adult I read it differently now and the characters differently, but that is what I feel when I read this book. I adore this. The next book that I read, and here's the other reason why when you see what I read, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, okay. I see why you only read a few books this month. But I read A Little Life. This hunk of 800 pages, man. If this has changed, I'm sorry. I moved the camera a little bit. Anyway, I read A Little Life. I was ready for this to destroy my soul. I was so ready, and it didn't. It didn't destroy my soul. And it's not like I skimmed through it and didn't take my time, and not like I didn't like the characters. I did. I cared about the characters. It just like didn't rip my soul out the way I thought it would. And the people who say this book is like trauma porn, I don't agree with. If you don't know this book, it's basically, it's another book where it's not much plot, and it's a lot more like character study, but it has a lot of trauma in it, like a lot. And I'm not saying that like it wasn't a traumatic book, and I'm not saying there aren't things in this book that make it to where not everyone should read this, because there are. This is not a book for everyone. I just feel like this is a very accurate portrayal of trauma, and I think maybe not everyone has been through that, so when they read this they take it very hard. But you know, in my life I've gone through a lot of this stuff, so like for some people that may be triggering. For me, I was just like, yeah, same. But that's not to say this is for everyone. I don't think this book is for everyone. Read the trigger warnings, know yourself. Not everyone reacts to things the same. But this book was so good. I rated this a 4.9 out of 5. It's basically a 5. It's just, my critiques with this book had nothing to do with the story or plot line itself. My critiques are the fact that like this book is so long, and like the chapters are like so long. Like there are chapters that are like 70 pages, 90 pages. So like it wasn't very fast reading. Like it felt like it drug on. And like I'm fine with reading long books. It's just like I wish the chapters were shorter, so it didn't feel like when I had to sit down to read, I had to sit down for like 3 hours so that I could read one chapter. That was my only complaint. The book was great. Let me pull out my notes here because I want to make sure I'm not forgetting like how I felt about this. Here's the thing. So I don't know if you can see all the blue here. This is where most of my, specifically the blue, this is where most of my reaction to this book was. This was that is like where I was so angry. I was so angry for Jude. This is the axiom of equality. The axiom of, what's the chapter? Yeah, the axiom of equality. It's that section. That section was hard for me to read. I was so angry for Jude, And I didn't cry throughout this book. I was ready to, but that is where I had the most like of a reaction, and I was just so upset for Jude. I hated Caleb. I'm not gonna say much about it, but I hated Caleb so much. And that section was very like brutal and descriptive, and that was kind of hard to read. But the ending, I kind of guessed that that's how it was gonna end, so I wasn't too like shocked. But I can see why a lot of people, it would make them very sad. But in the Axiom of Equality chapter, where I'm all over the place with this book, this is a big book, you're gonna have to forgive me. In the Axiom of Equality, at the end of that, the X equals X axiom was so profound to me, and oh my gosh, that is my favorite part of this book. It was so like, I read it and I was like, oh my gosh, the way that feels so profound and feels so accurate, and that is like truly such a piece of art just in that little section. I adored that. Truly, like Harold and Willem, I feel like are very important to the story, and I feel like, I'm trying to not give too much away, but I feel like they are like the people in this book who kind of accurately show the reactions to someone who's going through what they are. Harold is that person who like truly is always there for you, and they give you what you need, and they care about you, and they give you that patience and like softness. Whereas Willem, he still cares, and he cares so much, but he shows the side of like frustration that like people go through in seeing this happen to someone, to someone that you love, and like how they want the best for you, but they are frustrated and trying to help. But like, I feel like it's good to see like both sides of that. I really love this book. I feel like it was a good portrayal of trauma and the way that it affects people even into their adult life, and how it even just affects the trajectory of their life. Truly, I did a reading vlog on this. I haven't edited it yet, so I may be posting it, I may not, since I did this. I don't know, if you want to see it, I'll post it, but it was a great book. I rated it a 4.9 out of 5, or you can just say 5 out of 5. It isn't, I was ready for this to rip out my soul, and it didn't, but 800 pages. This is like the equivalent of like 3 or 4 normal size books, so you gotta give me a little bit of credit there. My last book, I read Verity by Colleen Hoover. Oh my god, this is a 5 out of 5. This is like a hell yeah star. Like, this is such a good book. Oh my gosh, I loved this. This is a thriller, basically about this lady named Lowen, who is an author. She's struggling with her finances, and one day she has this offer from this man named Jeremy. Jeremy's the husband of this really famous author named Verity. Verity was in an accident before, and she couldn't finish her very popular series, so they needed someone to continue to write it. So Lowen was supposed to come to their home and go through all of Verity's stuff and, you know, get an outline and write the book. And Verity is like not able to like do anything. Like, she is in a bed, she is not like mentally there, like she is like, I don't know what the word is for that, but she's like incompetent. What is the word? I don't know, I don't remember, I'm sorry. But she's not able to do anything. So Lowen goes to their home and is supposed to write this. And whenever now mind you, the family before Verity got into her accident, they had twins that both died on separate occasions in accidents. Separate occasions, not related. And then Verity got in her accident. Now, what happens in this book is when Lowen goes into to start writing and to find stuff, she finds an autobiography from Verity that was hidden away. And as she starts to read through this, there's some really disturbing things that she finds out about Verity. And I'm going to leave it at that. The less you can go into this book knowing, I think the better. This book was so good. It was so fast-paced. I read it in like one night. And the ending, oh my gosh. Now, I will say this book is very disturbing. This is like the most disturbing book I've ever read in my life. Just like ever. It was hard to read it sometimes. I had to put it down for a minute and be like, what the hell am I reading? And then I continued to read because I had to know what happened. Oh my gosh. It's very adult. There's a lot of adult themes. It's pretty steamy, but also it's just very dark. And when I got to the end, oh my gosh, I need someone to talk to about this. Maybe I should do just like a separate section with spoilers so I can talk about it. Oh my gosh, I finished it and I'm like, what the heck is happening? The twist at the end was so good, and now I have so many questions and I don't know what to think. And I have my opinion, but I don't want to put it out there because I don't want to give spoilers or talk too much about it, but oh my gosh, I want to. So if you want to talk to me about it, it's in the comments, because please, I need someone to talk to about it. But oh my god, I adored this book. It was so fast-paced, so good to read. It is definitely one of my new favorites. I have like I have a whole long thing here. Like, this is all just about this book. Because like, oh my gosh, it was so enthralling, and like I have no words, like truly. I have a lot of words actually. I have so many like thoughts. If you read the book and you're trying to figure out what you think, I just have so many thoughts. I have so many thoughts. I think I know what I'm leaning towards. It ends very ambiguous, so like I'm trying to figure out what I think about it, and I think I'm leaning more towards one than the other. But however, I read that she's coming out with a book that is supposed to be from the son's perspective, and if they do, I'm buying it so fast and I'm gonna read it so fast because oh my god, I need it. So anyway, those are all the books I read this month. I'm sorry it's not as many, but it's like I read one book twice and I read an 800-page book, so I mean, you gotta give me some credit there. So anyway, thank you for watching. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I have so many more books to read. I have so many, it's insane. So I will see you next time, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.